Hello everyone, welcome to Opportune. My name is Eva and today we are going to do another Power BI project and we are going to use this sales data set. And from this we have three objectives. We'd like to know what is the best performing product and the least performing product. We'd also like to know the busiest day of the week, and lastly we'd like to capture the trend of the revenue for the period of the 6 months. So as you can see, our data set, it has the transaction ID, the date, the time, quantity, store ID, location, the product ID, the unit price, product category, the product type, and the product details. And from this data, there are a few things we'd like to derive. First, from the date and time, we'd like to know which day is the busiest. I'd also want to derive the time of the day that is very busy. And you're going to use this time column to derive that. We'll split this time to intervals, and I'll come here and introduce a new column, call it intervals, and create a small table here with time and intervals that you're going to be using to VLOOKUP. The first time we'll have is from 12 a.m. and this is going to be night, which is going to go all the way to 6 a.m. And then the morning will start here up to 9 a.m. Then we'll have the mid-morning going all the way to 12 noon. And then we'll have the afternoon starting from 12 to 3 p.m. And lastly, we'll have the evening starting there to 8 p.m. And from 8 p.m. now we go back to night. Now, with these times of the day, we'd like to know which time of the day is busiest for this coffee shop. So we'll use the time column and we'll have our VLOOKUP function here. And we'll say VLOOKUP. Okay, the time. Then on this table, and you're going to use absolute reference here. So press F4 and then 2, and then you're going to use the range. So it has given us the morning interval, and we'll have this across all the columns. We'll copy and paste it as values. And since we have removed the formulas, we can go ahead and delete this small table. And now the other thing we'd like to have is the day, the month, and the year, and we'll derive this from the date. So we'll have a formula here. We'll use text. Want to have it as text. Then the row that we have, the cell that we have the date is B2, and then you want it in that format, and we'll hit enter. And we're going to have the same for all the other rows. So we'll copy and paste it as value and do the same for the month. Equals to month, not month, but text. B2. And then the format of the month will have 3 characters. Just come across here. And then we'll have it replicated in all the other rows. And then lastly, we want to derive the year. Have it as text B2, and the format will have 4 characters there. And this will also be the same for the other rows. The last thing we want to have here in this Excel is the revenue. And as you can see, If we come across here, we have the transaction quantity and we have the price of that transaction, the unit price of whatever was purchased, but we do not have the revenue. In this case, we have the coffee too, and at $3. So the value of this transaction, the first transaction, will be the quantity multiplied by the unit price. And the revenue generated from that is $6. And you have this replicated for all the other rows. And you can copy and paste it as values and save this. Then we'll close it and import it in Power BI so that you can start visualizing. Now we go ahead and import the same Excel workbook that we are working with. And you go to Get Data and go to the specific folder where you have your workbook. And in this case, we're not going to transform the data. We're just going to load once we see the sheet pop up here. So I'll select this transaction and load. And as you can see, we have all our fields on the right here. So we'll start creating the visuals and you'll start putting a title for this report. And I'll add a text box that is going to capture the title of the report. We'll adjust this text box across and then up. That is okay. And we'll drag it and put it at the center. We'll go ahead and write, let's just double click here and choose the Tahoma font type. And size will be 32. And this is going to be called Maven Coffee Shop Sales. We'll go ahead and put it at the center and bold. Let's highlight first and put it bold. And reduce this text box. We put it back to center. And the other thing I'd like us to have, let's say reduce this space. That's perfect. The other things we'd like to put is a background color. And you're going with this number. So we'll go ahead and type 7575. And then we'll have a shadow and position, it will be inside offset. That's okay. We'll have the total sales and the unit sold metrics displayed here using a card. We'll have one card and format it, and then we'll copy paste it for the other metrics. So I'll drag the revenue and drop it at the fields. Let's try again. It's okay. Just give it a second. Let's resize the card. And then you can go ahead and start formatting. Turn off the label there and reduce this to 15. That is too small. Let's use 20. Then we go ahead and change the font type. UI semi-bold. Let's retain the color. We can go ahead and put a title. We'll turn it on, and we'll call this total revenue. We'll change the font type and we'll make it bold, and the size will increase it to 20. Then we'll position it at the center. That's okay. So let's reduce this card size so that we can get rid of all these gaps. That's perfect. I will drag and drop it there at the top. We'll need to have a background color for this card. Let's collapse this and go to effects and the background color. Okay, it's okay. We can choose. We'll type here. This is F0DADA. And then we'll make it a 65% transparent. And we'll have a visual border on, and we'll be using these two colors majorly, even in other visuals. So I'll copy this and paste it so that you can also display the units sold using the same format. So our transaction quantity, the summation of this is going to be the total units sold. We'll just edit the title and say units sold, and that will be it. We want to be able to filter this with a slicer, and we want to filter by store location and month. We will start with the month, drag and drop at the field, and let's wait for it to load. As you can see, let me expand this. We have these numbers arranged alphabetically. Let's resize downwards so that you can see all the other months. They're starting from A to M with May, but you'd like to sort this by the way the months are arranged on the calendar. If you try descending, it's going to put the other way around. So what we do, we're going to introduce a new column. Let's go to the table view and go to this month. See what we are working with here. We want to be able to filter this month to sort it by the order of how the months follow each other. We will introduce a new column that will allow us to sort this in that format. So we go to Power Query by clicking here, Transform Data, and wait for Power Query to load. And from here now, we can add a new column, and it's going to be a conditional column. We'll select Add Column, then Conditional Column. And once this pops up, we're going to name the column here that you're going to use to filter month with. So this one, you're going to call it month number. And we're going to put the condition here. So if the month equals to Jan, we want it to be given 1 on the new column. If the month is Feb, then this one will have 2. It will go with this order. If the month equals to March, this will be 3. If the month is April, then this one will be 4. Else, if the month is May, this will be 5. Then else you can just put 6, since it's going to capture June. So go back home, then we will close and apply. Once this has finished loading, you'll see the introduced month here, column there called month number, and it's trying to effect the changes on our visual. Since we have not sorted by that month number, we'll go back to table view and we'll select the month column again, and this time we'll say sort by month number. and this will arrange the month the way you have organized them in your conditional column. Let's go back to the report view and see the changes. And as you can see, it's starting from June. Since we sorted by descending, we can go back to ascending. Now we have January, February, like that, the way it's supposed to be. We collapse this. We can go ahead and start formatting our slicer. We want it to be a drop down. Let's look at the selection. That is okay. Let's collapse this. Then we're going to format the header and give it a different font type. Let's give it a font color. Oh no, that's not. We can go back to black. That will be much better. And then let's collapse this and look at the values. We're going to change the background color to that brown. And this, no, let's use the first one. We're not going to change the transparency here. Let's go back to the header. We want it to have the same background color. And then for the whole slicer, let's adjust the size. We go to general. The background color will be the same, but now with the 65% transparency. Reduce it a bit. Then we'll carry it and put it with the cards. So once we have formatted the slicer, you can go ahead and copy and paste it. And this one now, we're going to have the store location, not the month. Put it next to this one. It's aligned well. We'll close this and drag and drop the store location. And then we're just going to change the title, not the title, but the slicer header, and capture store location. That is okay. Let's expand. Now, as you can see, these are arranged in order, and also the months are arranged the way we'd like them to be visualized. We'll also, something else you're visualizing here is the revenue of each product by product category. In this case, we'll take the revenue, we'll put it on the x-axis, and you take the product category on the y-axis. This is going to show us the product that has been performing well, or the best performing product to the least performing product. Let's expand it down so that everything is visible. That is okay. And as you can see from our chart, coffee is the highest, and then we have the packaged chocolates. Then we start formatting our chart. We will remove the titles for both the X and the Y axis. We'll change the font color while we are here. Then we go to the X axis. We remove the title. We turn it off. Then for the values, we'll change the color to that brown. Then we can collapse this. We want to format the grid lines. We'll have the same color and we'll increase the pixels to 2. Then we want to go to the bars and we change the color. We're using the same one to remain consistent with our colors. And then we'll turn on the data labels. Let's format here first. for the value, we're going to have we want to increase the decimal places to 2. Yeah, that's okay. Then we want to change the font color to that same brown. And then the title, let's format the caption revenue by product. So we'll use that stroke. Then we'll capitalize this P and the C and remove the underscore. Revenue by product category. Change the color to the same brown. Then we need a background color. Go to effects and change the background color. Okay, to this, and we give it 65% transparency, and then we'll turn on the visual border. We use the first brown, and that is okay. And as you can see, we have been able to visualize the products category by which one is performing best. And you can see for the month of June remains the same. We have the packaged chocolates being the last. So we'll have a small narration here explaining what is happening in this chart. Let's have a look for all the months so that you can see whether this has been consistent. The performance of coffee, as you can see, has been consistent. It's been the top, it's been the leading product. And for the stores, location in Astoria, Hell's Kitchen, and Lower Manhattan, it's also been the best performing product category. So you'll have a text box down here which will caption that, just a summary of what is happening on that specific chart. We'll go ahead and format this, and we'll give it the brown color. Okay, let's drag and put it up there. I think we can see what the revenue of coffee has been, the total revenue. This is about 0.27 million total revenue. And that's okay. So down here, we'd like to have a trend line that shows how the revenue has been doing over the period. So I'll use a line chart. In this case, I'll put the revenue on the y-axis and then the date on the x-axis. And this is going to show us how the revenue has been performing for this period. As you can see, the revenue has been on an upward trend starting from January even to the close of June. And there are a few lows that are observed. In this case, on 29th January, you can see a low there. There's a previous one on 12th. This is on 6th. That's not very. So on 17th of February, you have another low on 28th of Feb. There's another one on 29th of March. can follow the line. We see another one on 29th of April. Then this one on May 29th. And then our last one on 28th. This is 29th of June. So at the close of each month, you can see there's a low and it's very significant. And it's something that you'd like to be captured and addressed. So go ahead and format this line chart. We're turning off the titles of the chart. Then we go ahead and format the title of the chart. Sorry, we're turning off the titles of the axis. Now we are formatting the title of the chart. We want to be revenue by month. And the font type here will use the semi-bold, CJUI semi-bold. Let's try to reduce this a bit. It is too small. That is okay. And we'll change the font color to that brown. Okay. Let's just go back to the visuals as we address a few things here. Let me see. The grid lines, the horizontal ones, I want them to be very visible. I'm going to put this to 2 pixels. And then we can collapse this. We'll go to the lines. We'll change its color and put the same brown. The other thing we'd like to have here is the not using the data labels. Okay, let me see. It's not the x-axis but the y-axis. The y-axis, I want to turn off this title. Yeah, that looks good. And we can go back and look at these values. Let me see, let me just get back here. This is the value on the x-axis and the y-axis. Let's format the values. Let's highlight the line first. Then we'll go to effects. We'll put the background. We'll change the transparency to 65. We don't need a visual border for this. We'll just go ahead and change now the color for those values on the x and the y-axis. Just use the same brown. We are going between these two colors, so then the same brown. Okay, that is okay. The other thing I'd like to have is a narration of what is observed on this chart. Now I'm going to add this text box and I'll put it somewhere down there. And you're going to put the narration that this revenue has been on upward trend with this significant loss observed at the close of every month. So that's what we're going to caption here. So the revenue has been on an upward trend since January, and then significant lows have been, okay, so let's see, are observed at every close of the month, and that is fine. The only thing we'll do, we'll just format this. We'll put it at the center. And what we want to do, we still have space down here. So I'd like this to shift down, and I'm going to just put a space at the beginning of this sentence. Then we'll go ahead and change the font color. we'll have the same brown. Okay, we left the T there. Let's redo that. And then we can go to changing the background color for this text box. I give it 65. No, that doesn't look good. Let's go back to white. No background. That is okay. So as you can see, that is how our revenue has been going for the last 6 months, and that we're able to visualize this. The last thing I want to visualize here is the best performing day or the busiest day, and also I'll capture the busiest time of the day. We'll go ahead and use a matrix for this. We'll just expand it a little bit. That's fine. So here on the rows, I want to have the intervals. Then on the columns, we'll have the day. And then the value, in this case, we're going to use revenue in the values, but you can also use transaction quantity, but let's use revenue. This is where the money is. So as you can see, the distribution of revenue across the days and across the time of the day, and you have the totals there. Let's see if we can just resize this bar chart so that you can see everything that is displayed on the other chart on the matrix. Reduce this there. Let's expand this. Let's work with this first. What I'll do first, we'll do our conditional formatting so that we can have the days with low revenues easily distinguishable from the days that have high revenues. And then we're going to use color in this case, and we'll change the background color. We'll just work with the brown colors so that we remain consistent with the color of our report. So the lowest will have that, and then the highest value, that is revenue in this case. Let's go to more colors and put much darker. Let's see how this looks. Okay. Let's increase the padding and see if how visible this is. We'll go to, okay, let me just choose another background color first. For the highest revenue, we'll go to a much dark brown, and we can say let's push this one a bit too. Okay, we can say okay. It's a bit dark. Let's check now the visibility by changing the padding. Let's remove the preset and say none. And let's collapse this grid. Okay, the option, and we increase the padding to 10 and see. Okay, they're still dark. We go back to our conditional formatting and look at a few colors and see how this works. Let me change this and use the same brown I'm using for the header, the headings. See, okay, that's much better. So as you can see, this is how our matrix is, and this is how our busy day and busy time of the day are captured. In this case, you see we do not have we're going to turn off the totals here at the bottom, but you're going to retain the totals at the column level. That is the totals of the intervals, the time of the day. Let me reduce this padding to 8. Now that is not, we still remain with 10. That works. I want to show the totals of the time of the day, so let's adjust our chart size. Then let's go back to our matrix and try pull it across. That's much better. Let's just put these data labels. We'll change the, in our values, we're going to change the display unit so that it displays in thousands, since some of them are zeros. As you can see, packaged chocolate was 0. Now you can see the value there. Okay, let's go ahead with our matrix and continue formatting it. So if you go to our total, okay, let's expand out. That's good. Now we can see everything. I want to remove, to show these intervals in order. Even the day of the week, I want them to be arranged in order. In this case, we're going to use to sort by the way we did for the months. And we go back to Power Query and introduce the columns that you're going to sort by here. So we'll use, let's check the intervals that we have. We have the morning, the mid-morning, evening, and night. So we have 5 and the days are 7. We select conditional column, and this one you're going to call it intervals number. So if interval is morning, this is how we want it to be arranged. It's going to be 1. Then if the intervals is midday, mid-morning, we're going to have 2. Else, if intervals is afternoon, it's going to be 3 in our conditional column. Else, if intervals is evening, is going to be 4. Then else we're just going to have 5. And you can say okay. No. This is supposed to be intervals. That's okay. Then you're going to add another conditional column for the day, and we're just going to use the same method. It's going to be day number. So if day is Monday, it's going to be 1. Else, if day is Tuesday, is going to be 2. If day is Wednesday, the output is going to be 3. Else, if day is Thursday, oh, this is supposed to be 3 characters, not 4. Then else, if day is Friday, the output is going to be 5. Else, if day is Saturday, 6. 6, and then the last one you're just going to put 7 there. Click OK. We'll go back to home, then close and apply. Going to wait for it to load. And then once we have our columns introduced here, we're going back to the table view and we're going to sort, and we'll sort by the newly introduced columns for each category. Now let's come here. So the first one we have is the day. We select this column and then we'll say sort by, then day number. And then we go to intervals. We go to intervals, select the column, then sort by, then we go with interval number. We'll go back to our report. Let's wait for it to apply this. We go to our report view and see these changes have been effected, as you can see. And then let's just give it a second. I want to remove these intervals from here, that title. And we'll go back to where we pulled it under the row. We're going to double click this, then we'll backspace to remove the initial name that we had there of intervals. Then I'm going to just put a space in this case, then that will disappear and will not have intervals there. So this is arranged the way we want to see it. As you can see, the totals of your revenue per day. Let me just change the, no, I want to change the color of these headers. Okay, go to column headers and change the column, and then row headers, and we'll change the font color. That is okay. And you're going to give it a background color, and it's going to be consistent with the other charts. Together with the transparency, it will remain at 65. Okay, let's reduce that. And there is our display of which time of the day is the busiest. Now we want to have a total of which day is the busiest from Monday to Sunday. So I'll adjust the size of this matrix because I want to introduce a column chart at the top. Let's drop it down here. And let's introduce now I forgot to turn on the visual border and give it that color. Now as you can see the busiest time of the day is the midday. And up here now I'm going to show you how to visualize the busiest day of the week. We'll adjust this bar chart. And I'm going to put the day on the x-axis, and we'll take the revenue, expand that. We'll take the revenue on the y-axis. Now you can see all the days of the week, how they have been distributed, and the revenue in each. So a few things I'd like to do, we'd like to turn off the titles and the values. just reduce this. And as you can see, let me just align this there so that we can have the column chart aligned together with the respective days. Okay, let's go back to the column chart, and I'll expand this so that each day aligns with the respective bar. Turn off the title, and then something we need to turn off too is the values on the x-axis. Turn off there. That's okay. So I have all these days. Let's adjust the columns so that they can fit exactly to the respective names of the day. That's okay. So we can just resize that and have it there. We'll go ahead and change the color of these bars, columns that is. Go ahead and change the color of the column to the same brown. Something we want is to turn on the data labels, and we'll change the position. We put inside center, and then you're going to address the value. We want it to be displayed in thousands. Since you can see in this case we have 0.1 million, all of them in this. Now it has the actual value, not the rounded off. We'll change the background color and the transparency to 65%. And that is okay. Let's see. So as you can see, we have the days of the week captured there, and you have the highest day of the week and the lowest that is very easily recognizable. We will adjust this now so that we have a good layout of our cards and the slicers. Just a minute as we adjust. That is okay. And as you can see, we have been able to visualize all these objectives of the best performing category, the trend, and now the busiest day and the time of the day that has the highest revenue. And this has been able, you can see the night has the lowest revenue for all the days, but the mid-morning and the evening, they carry the highest revenue. So this is something that is easily captured and can be addressed by the management once this report is shared to them. I need to display these data labels. You can see one is hiding. Let's just have a visual border for these slicers so that they become consistent with the cards at the top there. Yeah, that is fine. And you're going to lay the arm. That's okay. So here you can see the revenue, how the revenue has been distributed for all the categories. And let's come here, since the T, let's change the color of the data label so that you can see for the coffee. I'm sure it has blended inside there. Yeah, Now it is visible. We'll also change the data label colors for this column chart. Data labels. And then we go to value and then change the color to black. And that's it. We have been able to capture the 3 objectives that we had from the Excel. And I hope you are able to follow through and achieve this. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe so that you can have more informative projects.
Thank you and stay safe.